Annie playing Radiant side and always passing excellence playing on Dire. I believe that Ape gets first pick. I'm not sure though. I didn't pay.
It was, yeah. Ape
Okay.
first pick, and Annie chose Radiant. So, here we go, straight into it.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what the strategies are from both of these teams in the first game, which is a really important game in any series, and it's going to be pretty standard so far. Bristleback and Visage banned out, two pretty common heroes. The Bristleback especially. Visage not necessarily a super common first ban, but I think the better you are at Dota, the more you fear Visage, and the earlier you ban Visage, just because the hero's micro potential is so high.
10 seconds remaining.
And then we'll see a Timbersaw for almost passing excellence, so afraid of those strong offlaning heroes, as they should be. And then an Invoker ban. I've seen a lot of first ban Invokers later and later in the bracket in this tournament, and I feel like that's related to teams doing some scouting and possibly watching another game where the team has a mid player who just goes totally off. And Ape will first pick the Nyx Assassin, a really solid pick, really has been making a resurgence even after the Impale nerf. I've been seeing a lot of Nyx Assassin recently. I think a lot of players have adjusted to the delay on the stun and sort of made Nyx work again, because he was extremely popular when his stun was target. But now I think he's sort of coming back.
He's being played quite a lot in the offlane as well at the moment. Oh, Ember Spirit straight away. There we go.
I don't believe it. I was wondering if we were going to see this. Ember Spirit was added to the pool not even a week ago. So I think we're going to... Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. They're going to try... Ape is going to just try and throw Annie completely off their rocker right now, put them well outside their comfort zone and try and take this game in cheesy fashion. Man, Annie, meanwhile, picking Venomancer Doom. Doom I've been seeing a great deal of. I've actually been seeing him played as a utility intel hero and from mid, actually, with a lot of like Arcane Boots, Bottle, Shiva's Guard, Sheep Stick, Mech, all those kind of things.
Something that Annie do like to do, they pick up the Venomancer a lot of the time, actually. They really, really rate that hero. And I think it's because it gives them the potential to do an aggressive tri-lane or a safe tri-lane. And I think now they've picked up the Doom, Annie tend to, when they pick up the Doom, I don't think they'll play it mid this game, like you mentioned. They tend to put Murd on the Doom, who plays off lane for them. But they might actually send him to the solo safe lane and then do an aggressive tri-lane, depending on the support that they choose to pick up and whether that really works with their lineup. But I think that's something that we might be expected to see. I was going to mention, actually, with the Ember Spirit, we haven't seen it really at all. I've actually seen it panned out first quite a lot in a few of the games that I've casted over the last week since it was released into Captain's Mode. And I think that's simply because people just don't have any idea or experience with playing with it in this sort of environment. Not only playing against it, but playing with it as well. So they just completely ban it out because it puts everyone on an even playing field. So it's really great that we get to see that come through, because it'll be the first time that I've seen Ember Spirit
me too.
in a Captain's Mode game that I've casted.
It's going to be so strange. And you mentioned that people just banning it just because they don't have experience with it. The risk reward is so high by doing that. And I'm told I have to change my Twitch title. Where is this?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Lion.
Was that a lion pick too? Oh goodness, this is getting absolutely crazy. We see Clockwork and Viper both banned out for Ape. Those are pretty standard, and then Bane and Nyx banned out for Annie, but then they're going to pick the Lion. I really think that Lion is a support who is just under top tier, and has sort of been pushed out by heroes like Crystal Maiden and the Venomancer, for example, and Nyx Assassin as well.
Yeah,
just
agreed.
not quite there. His skill set is quite good, actually. It's somewhat situational because you want to maximize the mana drain.
5 seconds remaining.
So he's very strong against mana-dependent heroes, but some of his other skills just don't quite gel like Crystal Maiden's does.
Oh,
this is...
I like Darkseer.
Me too.
This is old school.
Yeah, Darkseer, I've seen him a whole lot. He's usually come late in the draft, just when the other team might not necessarily be ready or have picked a lot of heroes that are subject to positional punishment, just with vacuum and the wall. So I'm really liking this lineup from A.P.E. If they've practiced this lineup, they could be in a real
10 seconds remaining.
spot of bother here, or they could put Annie in a spot of bother.
5 seconds remaining.
It's quite a good pickup actually for the to counter the hex as well, because obviously you can use
Reserve
Surge
time.
on any hero that gets hexed, and you can just you see the frog just run away at the speed of,
Yeah.
speed of light, and yeah, I think that's a really good pickup, and obviously a really strong off lane. And if we do see this Doom go into the safe lane, whether it be in the tri lane or as a solo, if they do decide to run an aggressive tri lane, which is possible with the Venomancer and the Lion, they've got a lot of lockdown there. They've got the slow, and depending on the hero that they choose to play as the carry, which I think we're still going to see come out from Annie, as well as their mid hero. They could definitely do that, and Darks is a really good matchup against Doom.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Well, actually, I think Doom has a little bit of an advantage because he can just devour an Iron Shield creep, but it does sort of depend on.
That's true.
It does depend. I think that matchup is actually sort of a toss-up, and it's based on who's actually better at last hitting and such. And then we're going to see the OD picked up by Annie, and I really think that is a dangerous pick, just with the Nyx Assassin, and I'm not sure how good OD is against Ember Spirit, but I don't know much about Ember Spirit in general because all I've had, the only experience I've had with him is in pubs and APs.
Do you think Ember Spirit's going to be played mid in this game then? Do you think he'll... Because I saw
remaining.
Na'Vi run it against Liquid, was it a couple of days ago, a few days ago? And
5
Havos
seconds
played that hero, and
remaining.
he played it in the safe lane farming role. And it fell off massively once they got... Because it was the really long game, wasn't it? It went to about, I think, 70, 80 minutes, something crazy like that. And it really fell off compared to the lifestealer that Liquid had. So it'll be interesting to see whether they decide to run that mid, because I think it probably does do a better job mid in terms of how it is a snowball hero. It wants to get the early levels, go around, see if it can make some kills happen, and then really snowball and take control of the game from there. And I'm not sure how it will do against an Outlaw Devourer. Obviously we know how strong OD is.
Yeah, I think OD has a significant advantage in that lane, and I think that they might even want to try and safe lane their Ember Spirit and just try and get it some farm. Even if they have to run a defensive tri lane against an aggro tri lane from Annie, just because Ember Spirit is so based on getting early farm to just make those early kills possible. I mean, once he gets that level 6, he can do a lot of roaming with his ultimate and get a lot of burst damage in, and he's decent early just with his with the magic shell, just because of how much damage it does. But you really don't want to put him up against OD because he's extremely mana dependent. He doesn't really have a lot that he brings to the table that is just in the form of right clicks. So if OD can just nerf his mana pool down to 0, he's going to be really in trouble. And there's Kunkka. Kunkka and OD have been locked. Yeah, Kunkka and OD have been locked in a titanic Clash of the Titans for the last 6 months in Dota 2, where when an opponent picks Kunkka, you pick OD, and when an opponent picks OD, you pick Kunkka. So we will see that classic matchup.
10
Tidebringer does not
remaining.
cost mana, it turns out, and it's pretty good. So we will see
5
if
seconds
the
remaining.
Kunkka can beat the OD or vice versa this time around. And these 5th bans are actually
Reserve
fairly
time.
important. There are some heroes on the board still, like Slark, for instance, that are high tier heroes, but there is the Doom on the board, so that's not probably going to be what is picked. Let's see who's still on the board. We have Weaver still on the board. We have, and actually with that Kunkka pick, I think that Ape is broadcasting that they will safe lane that Ember Spirit, or perhaps they could safe lane the Kunkka even. I mean, that's something that's been done before, and they could 5th pick and they probably will 5th pick a nice support here. And Crystal Maiden is actually still in the pool, so that's a possibility to keep an eye out for. As is the Vengeful Spirit.
I think Crystal Maiden's fallen off
10
quite a bit actually
seconds
since she got nerfed slightly, didn't she, with her base intelligence?
5 seconds remaining.
Got nerfed by 3, was it? Which is quite a huge deal, to be fair, in the early game.
Yeah.
Just made a lot less. It really actually
Dire
hurts the
team
jungle
ban.
in terms of how quickly you can jungle with her now. It's still really effective, and I think that's one of the reasons why she's such a strong support, because she's so diverse in how she can lane. In terms of her ganking potential at the early levels, the fact that she can jungle at early levels, and just the strong lane
10
dominance that you
seconds remaining.
get from having a Crystal Maiden in the side. But I really want to see. I
5
just, as
seconds
soon as you see the
remaining.
Kunkka come out and you've got the Darkseer there, everyone wants to see the vacuum into the 5-man torrent. I mean, that's what we want to see, and that would be
Radiant
unbelievable.
team pick.
And Annie's going to have to be really careful about their positioning when any of these team fights start taking place, because if they get caught in something like that, even if it's only 2 heroes, if it's 2 core heroes, then you lose the fight. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting to watch coming out from A.P.E.
Yeah, and we will see Torrent into Ghost Ship, obviously, is the combination that we're going to be looking for, and a Ghost Ship is just massively powerful.
10
that's
seconds remaining.
probably one of the best team fighting ultimates in the game right now,
5
if you have
seconds
the skills
remaining.
to use it, because it's just such a short cooldown. It does massive damage. It just gives you... It's so strong. It's just ridiculous. And we're going to see a 5th
Team
pick
pick.
Mirana from Annie, so that's sort of interesting. Mirana's actually a strong hero that can be sort of played not as a good 3 role, provides a lot of support to your team with her ultimate Moonlight Shadow, increases your ganking potential through the mid and late game a great deal. Has Arrow, which is fantastic for harassing mid, and awesome for ganking, as well as contributing in lane. But then she gets very strong late game as well. Her right click her animation is quite good,
10
and she
seconds
scales
remaining.
very nicely with Manta style. So definitely a good pickup for Annie.
5 seconds remaining.
We will see what A.P.E wants to do.
How do you think Annie are going to lane this at the moment? Do you think it's going to be an
Reserve
offlane Mirana and they're going to do a Doom safe lane carry, or do you think they might send Doom to the offlane and try and safe lane the Mirana?
That all depends on the Doom, and Doom can be somewhat awkward to lane.
10
I've seen
seconds remaining.
Doom literally laned pretty much everywhere throughout this whole tournament, and we see everybody
5
in the game has
seconds
disconnected.
remaining.
That's fascinating.
Are we remaking? Is there a remake going on there?
That's a possibility. They might... Oh gosh, we're going to see a Chaos Knight. What the heck? That's sort of interesting. It will work with Vacuum, though. We might see them... we might just remake the game and do an all-pick or something like that, so we'll do the draft in one game and the actual game in another. So, sorry for the people watching on Dota 2 TV, but I'm going to go ahead and find out what's going on here. Let's see. Don't really know what's going on. Hold on, I'll just message one of the AD2L guys. We're probably just going to be remaking, no big deal. But I'll just go ahead and put some music on in the meantime. So, be right back with the game. Alright, welcome back. After a brief interlude, we have the game finally now. I believe that there was a glitch in... I don't know what happened, actually. But we did see a Chaos Knight last pick, but I believe that was actually intended to be a Luna. Or something. Something strange happened. I don't really know what the deal was, so we might have different teams than what that draft was. I've never seen that happen, where just random heroes start coming out. Like 5th pick, carry Leshrac.
I was trying to wonder how A.P.E. Yeah, I was trying to wonder how A.P.E were actually going to lane that, because they had a Chaos Knight.
CK solo off lane straight into the face of the defensive tri lane. It's a good strategy.
Exactly. It was actually a Mirana pick coming out from A.P.E and a Luna pick from Annie. So
yeah, that's what they said in the lobby. I wasn't sure if they were trolling or not. You can never be too careful with these kids playing
exactly,
Dota.
yeah.
So just looking at the drafts, who do you think has the edge here? Annie or A.P.E?
It's difficult to tell. I've never really seen. It's obviously as soon as you put an Ember Spirit into the pool, it's really difficult to know what's going to happen, because no one's really seen it in any of these matchups because it's so new. And it's just been thrown in here, so it's going to be really interesting to see that. And obviously we get a Kunkka as well. I think Kunkka wins against OD mid. As strong as OD is, I think OD wants to dominate the lane, and has to dominate the lane to do well going into the latter stages of the game. And I think Kunkka does fine in that lane. I think he manages to still get last hits. I think he can still get the levels, and I don't think he's too much of a threat from dying from the OD either. So I actually think that's a really, really strong matchup there in the way of the Kunkka. I do expect to see the Ember Spirit in the safe lane, tri lane, and I presume we're going to see support Mirana as well coming out from A.P.E.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's just going to be Nyx, Ember Spirit, Mirana in a tri lane with the Darkseer off, Kunkka mid, of course. And I think Kunkka mid, I think he does get a gold advantage, but I think he actually has a bit of a problem getting XP as much as the OD, because if he skills Tidebringer, that will give him last hits, but it will push the lane. But I do think he does beat OD in general. Let's just go ahead to introduce the teams right now. On the side of Annie, we're going to see Greed playing the Venomancer, Murd playing Doom, Lucy playing Luna. It's like a Lucent Beam pun or something. Psychodelia playing Lion, and A.P.E playing Outworld Devourer. How interesting that his name is A.P.E against A.P.E. A.P.E on A.P.E action. On the side of A.P.E, we're going to have the defensive tri lane with TGC playing Nyx Assassin, Affinity for STFU playing Mirana, and Kurama playing the Ember Spirit, trying to get that farm. Mid, we will see Kid named Jurster playing the Kunkka, and then in the off lane, we will see Ilias playing the solo Darkseer. And it looks like it's going to be 2 defensive tri lanes here, one with the Luna and one with the Ember Spirit. We all know Luna is good, but it's interesting to see if the Darkseer will be able to compete if the farm is equal. I really don't think I don't think that Ember Spirit can keep up with a Luna if the farm is equal, that is. If the Ember Spirit snowballs and gets like 2 Battle Furies and stuff like that, then the damage from Sleight of Fist is just extreme. So it's always got to watch out for those snowball heroes. And gosh, Kunkka's got that cool Lothar's Blade cosmetic. Oh, love that. And we are actually going to see Murd in the offlane, like you were talking about. We're going to see TGC camping here with this invisibility rune. He has skilled Impale first, so we'll see if they can't make something happen here. The Mirana is creeping in the woods. They're going to try and get an Impale.
Murd spotted that out. That's he does have the ward.
That was so close.
That was so close.
Even with the ward.
Yeah, Murd has put the sentry down, so he is going to be able to spot when the Nyx finally does get... Yeah, I think they realised.
De-ward that immediately, yeah. So already a lot of mind games going on just in terms of the ward placement for both teams. We will.
But like you said, yeah, I mean, with the Luna safe lane farming for the side of Annie, and I think it's one of the strongest carries in the game at the moment, just because of how strong it is early game with Lucent Blessing. So it can dominate the lane in terms of getting those last hits, and then also transitioning into the late game, like you said, is one of the hardest carries with Moonglaive, and the ability to farm really fast as well means you can come from behind and actually make a comeback in games, which I think is really, really important, especially when you're against a lineup that is looking to snowball, and you have heroes like Nyx, Kunkka, and we expect this Ember Spirit as well to really try and take a hold of the game in the early stages and going into the mid game.
And this is interesting. We have actually seen Yilius on the Darkseer switch to the jungle, so he will be stacking camps and just farming that, which will give Luna absolutely free farm here bottom and give her supports freedom to roam, and they do have smokes, so we could see a bit of action on the Kunkka here in the next few minutes. But what do you think about that decision to just abandon the lane for the Luna?
I mean, the problem is it's such a strong tri-lane, and obviously, Darkseer doesn't do that well in the off-lane in terms of harassing and restricting the farm when it's a ranged hero like Luna is. I mean, the Iron Shell doesn't really do anything, so there's not a lot really being gained in terms of actually stopping the Luna's farm. So if you're just going to sit there and hide by your tower and get very little XP and very little farm yourself, you might as well abandon the off-lane and just go straight for the jungle. And I actually think it's a really good decision to do it. And we do see a few Bat Riders and heroes like that tend to abandon the off-lane. They might start there and get their few early levels up, even heroes like a Nature's Prophet, and then they'll go into the jungle and they'll start stacking up and play catch-up, really. And I don't think there's a problem with doing that at all, and I think the Darkseer's made a pretty sensible decision in coming into the jungle this early because he knows how little he's going to get from that off-lane.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that just looking at with the Venomancer especially, if he eats one Gale, even with Surge, he will be put so far behind. Won't even be able to come up into the lane. And a solid player who's good at last hitting, which I'm sure Lucy is, will not be troubled too much by Ion Shell. It's a really predictable source of damage, so it's not super hard to last hit around it, so to speak. So the game has sort of just moved into a long farming phase. So let's go ahead and check the last hits and the net worth. We're going to see Ember Spirit actually leading the last hits and denies chart in front of the Luna, despite her having 100% complete free farm in the lane. So the off-lane Doom is not exactly contesting a whole lot. He is getting decent levels, though, and we have seen the last hits there get tied up. So it is extremely close between both of them. They're both doing a fantastic job. OD winning mid, 16 last hits, 14 denies for him to the 10 and 4 of Kunkka. And he has skilled 2 into X marks the spot, so he will be looking to do X marks torrent combos. That's a really easy way to ensure that you land stuff as Kunkka if you're not familiar with him. If you put a rank 2 X marks the spot on a hero and you cast torrent immediately underneath it, it's pretty much impossible to miss unless the opponent casts some kind of other spell, like Astral Imprisonment, for example, could allow OD to dodge that. But if you're a regular hero and you're just trying to run out of the torrent, you will not get out of it with that combination. So that's a really good way to make early ganking easier.
Looks like we might have some engagement on top.
Yeah, and in mid as well, we're going to see Psychedelia get a haste rune. He's going to drop the Impale on Kunkka, so he's going to be on the run here. We're going to see A.P.E and right clicks as well. He's got 2 Astral Imprisonment buffs. Kunkka's using his bottle, trying to get into the woods, and I think he might escape here, and he will. Meanwhile, top, we're going to see Doom take a bit of an engagement. He will drop the Scorched Earth. He has skilled that before his Devour, so he's playing extremely defensive, as one should in an off lane against a defensive tri-lane. But both heroes survive. So a little bit of action right now, and we will see the Flame Guard skilled by the Ember Spirit Karama, which is the best way to skill this hero. I know very little about him except how to build him and like his skill builds and stuff. Flame Guard does a huge amount of damage. It's actually very similar to Ion Shell. We'll see a Torrent here on Ape actually mid, but Kid Named Jerser is so low he will not be able to contest much CS, and he will be trying to wait for this rune, but both teams have the runes warded. So I do not think he'll be able to go for it, but he has had the chicken bring him a salve, so he'll be able to actually contest now.
Darkseer's actually rotated down back to this bottom lane now, so got a few early levels, got the Soul Ring up and running, and is now rotated to see if he can try and contest some of the supports farm in this jungle. Which I think is a smart decision, because he knows that now he's got the 1 level in Surge as well, they definitely can't kill him.
Yeah, and I think that once you have the Soul Ring, when you get that the double Ion Shell going, it's actually quite a bit better than 1. It's like exponentially increased. And we'll see OD pick up an DD mid here, and Kunkka's in a real spot of trouble now. Psychedelia is rotating up again. He's going to drop the Impale. He has another Hex. We'll see if he drops that. He does. Ape's going to drop the ultimate as well, so that's going to add insult to injury. I'm not even sure if they needed that, but Kid Named Jerser will go down. And he secures first blood. Nice rotation from the line. I really love to see supports being active early, especially in the mid matchup. We'll see an arrow to fly here top. Doesn't connect on Murd. But Luna has taken a lead in the last hits department, even with the Darkseer rotating back down, and OD continues to be dominant mid. And now that he's got that first blood, he is in the absolute driver's seat right now. He's going to be able to Bottle Crow here, and then contest the 8-minute rune as well, and he's already got 1,500 gold in the bank, so we could be seeing a fast 4-stat from him. which would be a really good decision against Ember Spirit, Kunkka, and Darkseer. It can save you from a whole... Like, I think Force Staff is one of the best items in the game, especially on OD. It just gets you in and out of such bad situations.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I absolutely agree with you on that one. And it's so good for... It's such a good team fighting hero skill as well.
Yeah,
in terms
you can
of the
just
fact
say,
that you
like...
can force staff people, especially if the other team has really, really hard lockdown disables, like, for example, a Bane, and you get Fiend's gripped up. It's a really, really good item to have to get you out of those sort of situations.
Right.
Just move you into a better position so the team can defend it from the high ground or something like that.
We're going to see Ilias eat a Gale here bottom. This is exactly why he was in the jungle, because he's going to go down quite easily right now. He ate an Impale, or a Hex rather, from Psychedelia, and then Greed was able to land a Gale. And then Lucy's just doing so much damage with her right clicks right now. It made that look very easy. And Lucy has finished up her Midas. She's had that for a few minutes now. So I think that going for Midas here is a relatively good idea. I don't think that Kunkka nor Ember Spirit will come online that quickly. I know once Ember Spirit gets 6, and he does have it, the Fire Remnant skill will allow him to gank quite a lot, but I'm not sure that he'll want to dive into a Luna, so I feel like Luna has the time to afford going for the Midas and still have time to, make it to either a Drum or a Helm of the Dominator, or whatever she chooses, and it will be a Helm of the Dominator, getting that Helm of Iron Will there before Boots, just for the regen. She has not left the lane yet, which is always the mark of a good carry. Neither has Kurama, though. He will be going for a Drum, and he has finished Phase Boots, so I'm actually sort of interested to see what build he goes. I imagine he will be going for either a Desolator or for a Chrysalis, just to improve Sleight of Fist damage.
Yeah, I think it's all about that skill once you get into the late game Ember Spirit. I think that skill is so strong in team fights.
It's like it's the worst for sieging bases. When heroes just stand there and tank it is unreal. We're going to see Meridian Arrow top, actually. We're going to see Fire Remnants come out as well from Kurama, and he's going to drop the chain there. We'll see Merd drop the Scorch Earth and probably get out of here. And we see 2 rotations from Psychedelia and Greed. The Gale doesn't connect, so everybody gets out alive. Man, that was...
Radiant's bottom tower
and
is
I think
under attack.
Doom in the offlane is actually succeeding.
The Darkseer actually got a solo kill on the Luna down here.
Are you serious? What?
Yeah, while the action was going on at top, I think the Nyx actually rotated in.
Oh, and, yeah, he has such low mana.
And they managed to land the stun.
I can't believe that. That's a huge problem for Annie right now. You really can't afford to have your carry die this early in the game. Especially, I mean, she didn't have boots. So perhaps getting that Helm of Iron Will was a little bit greedy, but no matter what you build, you just cannot die. I mean, that's rule number 1 as the carry.
It's a huge kill as well.
Yeah,
Luna was doing so well on this bottom lane. I mean, had the kill, was leading in last hits, and
yeah, if you go ahead and take a look at the net worth right now.
Up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's still really close. OD has a lot of gold just from the early laning phase, but that will drop off. His flash farming is not nearly as good as Kunkka's, but he has chosen to go for the Midas as well. So that's 2 Midases on Annie. So they are going to be trying to maximize their gold in the late game. And I think that's a good decision, provided they can keep this Ember Spirit down. I mean, as we were saying, Sleight of Fist becomes extremely powerful late in the game. Once you get like the Battle Furies and the Daedaluses and all kinds of late game items on Ember Spirit, you just sit outside the base and just get kills. It really is that simple. So we will see the Doom getting
down. They might try and
a little bit. Yeah, they
might try.
Yeah, they might try and die this. He's going to eat an arrow, actually, and that's certainly going to seal his demise. There's the Impale to follow, and he's going to go down very easily.
Stokes the furnace. Learn from your mistakes.
So I just remarked about how Merd was doing such a fantastic job on the offlane, not getting killed.
Radiant's
I
top
cursed
tower
him,
is under attack.
and so it was my fault, Merd.
Dire's
I'll take the blame on that one, but I think
Radiant's
that's just
top tower has fallen.
illustrates a little bit of the weakness of Doom. He has no
Radiant's
real
middle tower is
solid
under attack.
escape mechanism like a
Dire's
Wind Ranger
bottom
might, like a
tower
Weaver
is under
does. I mean,
attack.
Scorch Earth is fantastic for
Dire's
durability.
structures
It's
are
sort of like a
fortified.
mini Alchemist ultimate, just because it gives you so much regen, but with the burst damage that A.P.E brought to the table there, he was not able to survive, and as with so often happens in Dota, if you eat the arrow, you die, and that's exactly what we saw.
I think the Mirana support is actually really, really strong at the moment, and obviously it's in the position as well where if the game does go late, You can always transition it into more of a DPS build, perhaps pick up a Desolator, maybe a Molnar.
Radiant's top tower
And I think
is
that's
under
such
attack.
a great advantage to have. And obviously, like, the burst damage coming out with Starstorm and with Sacred Arrow, it's actually going to land on Psycho on the line here, but I don't think they've got any follow-up.
Yeah, I
They're not
don't
gonna be
know
able
if
to
they do. They
take
do have the
advantage of it.
Vendetta Nyx and TGC, though, and he might come up and try and get something done, but I don't think he'll be able to. Venomancer is very low on his starting HP pool, but
Radiant's bottom
I'm
tower
not sure if
is
he
under
really
attack.
wants this right now. We'll see how greedy he's going to be. Arrow to fly, it might connect. It does not. OD's going to be zoning out Kid Named Twister. He's going to drop the Astral Imprisonment. Greed's just spamming those Serpent Wards, and I don't think that TGC is going to be able to get this, and his Vendetta does run out. And I believe he will be spotted out by this ward, actually, so they will know he's there. Yeah, Psycho's pinging it out, so they will know he's here. He must scurry to safety if he wants to stay alive, and he does. And we will see the Helm of the Dominator finished on Luna. We'll see if she can go ahead and dominate a creep here to go ahead and stack Ancients. There are a bunch of creeps available just in this medium camp that they have stacked up. Support's doing a fantastic job in the jungle for Luna stacking. That's always extremely important. We'll see if she goes for that Centaur, and she does. So Centaur's good for 4 or 5 stacks usually before you have to send it back to the fountain. Most times you just say job well done and release it from your control and get a new one, but the Centaur's actually quite good just because of his massive HP pool, and we will see the drum getting completed on Ember Spirit as well. So the first set of core items starting to come out now. We do see Murd probably going for a Vanguard just with that Ring of Health and the Stout Shield. And we will see the 4-staff nearly completed for Ape on the OD. And then on Ape's side, we will see...
We're actually going to see Luna go down on bottom lane.
Are you serious? Again? I can't believe
Again.
this is happening. She
It's
must have gotten
that.
Vendetta, yeah.
Is that
It
Nick
never
Stark's
fails.
combo?
And whenever I
Radiant's
go
bottom
for
tower
item
is under
checks,
attack.
people always die. It's really frustrating. It's just like it never fails. Anyway, so that's the second death for Luna, so that's really not very good. But we will see a Hand of Midas on Darkseer. Who does this guy think he is? Oh my, who is it in the pro scene that always does this? Oh god. I don't remember, but there is some pro that always goes for a Hand of Midas Darkseer. I don't know. But no other core items coming out for Ape just yet, except for the face boots on Kunkka, perhaps. Oh man, yeah, but I can't. It's one of those things where I can't tell if it's like total brilliance or absolute stupidity with this Hand of Midas on the Darkseer.
I don't know. I mean, he obviously needs the levels, which is great when you have a Hand of Midas. And getting it at this sort of stage in the game, it may be a little bit late. I'd probably expect to see an off-lane pick up Midas maybe about the 12-minute mark if they're going to do it. But he does need the levels. However, if you think about if you got rid of the Hand of Midas, you'd be pretty much there or thereabouts for a mech, and that's a pretty crucial item. And I don't know who else is going to go mech on this Ape side. It doesn't look like it's not really a Mirana item. It's not really an item a Nyx would expect to pick up. And I don't expect to see Kunkka mid picking it up either. So it would be all about this Darkseer picking up the mech, and I just think it's a poor decision to pick up a Hand of Midas at this stage, especially in a game where you know that the other team might even have the advantage if it goes to the late game. You know, OD scales pretty well into the late game. Luna obviously scales fantastically into the late game, and even Doom. You know, Doom's such a big skill when you get into the sort of 50, 60-minute mark, and it only takes one kill to completely change a team fight and win you the game. And yeah, but
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
clearly they don't want to push early. They want to get this Ember
as
nice
possible.
and far to see the potential.
We do see 2 heroes smoked here from Ape. We'll see Karama and the Mirana smoked as well. He's going to drop a Sleight of Fist just for harassment, but there's 4 heroes top, 5 in fact from Annie, and I don't think that Ape's going to be able
Dyer's
to
top
hold
tower
this.
is under attack.
They might get a counter push here bottom just from Ilias creep skipping, but I'm not
Radiant's
sure if they
bottom
will be able to
tower
do
is
that.
under
Do they
attack.
have any TPs here for Annie? We see 3 heroes going to bottom.
They do. Yes.
Radiant structures are fortified.
So I don't think they're going to let this tower go, and they certainly will not. So they
Radiant's
will take a
middle
tower for
tower
nothing,
is
so that's a
under
bit of
attack.
an advantage for Annie right now. And the Doom will finish his Vanguard, and Odie has actually finished his 4-staff and picked up a Haste Rune. So a lot of Midas this game, so both teams, I believe, planning on taking it late. So we could see a long first game right now, which is hopefully indicative of the rest of the series. I mean, I hope we're casting all night, keeping you up till the wee hours of the morning. So...
I mean, what I would mention in terms of Ape's lineup is it is a very greedy lineup. I mean, there's a lot of heroes there that need their farm. Obviously, the Ember Spirit is very, very farm dependent. The Kunker's very farm dependent. The Darkseer not so much, but does need to pick up the levels. And even the Mirana as a support, it's a farm dependent support hero. So I think if Annie before, when I've watched them play, what they like to do if other teams go for a greedy lineup like this is they try and take the towers surrounding the enemy's jungle and then take control of the jungle with wards. Perhaps pick up a gem, start to take map control, and just make it so that there's nowhere for the other teams to farm. And we're going to see an engagement mid actually. And the Doom's thrown out.
Oh gosh, Kid Amdrush will tank the Doom. Apes popped that haste rune. The Moonlight Shadow comes out as well. Force have to follow. We'll see if Kid Amdrush can get into the woods. He can. But the Doom will take him out. That's 2 for 0 for Annie. And they did actually get a solo kill on the Nyx. Or it wasn't a solo kill, rather. It was a pick-off 4-on-1 against the Nyx assassin in the jungle. He was looking for a Vendetta kill, and he did not get it. But Kurama's just top still farming. He has finished Assange, so he will be going for Assange and Yasha by picking up that Band of Elven skin. I'm not sure how I feel about picking up Assange and Yasha. I'm not sure if it adds a whole lot to his team. Potentially, he could break it down later on in the game into a Mantis style and a Halberd or Heaven's Halberd, but I'm not sure how. That's a bad TP from him. Actually, he's going to drop the chain there, but I'm really not sure what he was expecting to do there. Perhaps they're just going to get this deny. They're going to have to compete with wards, though. Oh, Marana gets a nice jump there by Affinity for SCFU. I don't know what I feel about the Sanjin Yasha. I think that item, it doesn't have a real niche
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Most hard carries. Like, it's way too expensive for supports and offlaners traditionally, and it's not good enough for hard carries who want the bigger items like the butterflies and the hearts. We're going to see an Impale get dropped here on Ilias, but he will surge away. We'll see if Ape wants to pursue this a little bit. He will have that Force Staff coming off cooldown in a second, and he does have the Astral Imprisonment. He will call it off, though. Nice job on dodging that Torrent, but his DD is still going, or he possibly even picked up it. He did pick up another one. My goodness, he's gotten a little lucky there with the runes. We will see an Urn on TGC, so he won't be rushing Blink Dagger or anything super greedy like that. I believe he will be playing their 5 spot. Just with the Mirana on his team, so he'll be spending most of his money on wards, so we will not expect to see him going for the Dagon and the Blink Dagger, the two sort of key items on the Nyx. And we still see Kunkka with no Shadow Blade, and it's almost 20 minutes into the game right now. He's going to be creeping this Ancient stack, so that will get him closer, but he still needs that Shadow Amulet to really start being effective, and it's a little late to be ganking, to be honest. I mean, Ember Spirit hasn't been able to do a lot of ganking himself just because he's been farming so much, but you really want to see your Kunkka, especially when he goes for 2x and 1 Torrent at level 5. You really want him to be ganking early, but they have gotten a few kills on the Luna so far, so that's really what's going to be their advantage right now. We can see that sort of reflected in the net worth chart, but Luna is actually well ahead of the Ember Spirit. We're going to see an Astral Imprisonment here. The Dark Wall as well from Ilias. We'll see TGC try and get out of here with Spike Carapace, but Impale's going to hit on absolutely everybody. Moat on 2. We'll see Doom come out on Ilias and another Impale come out on Merv. We'll see if they can't get him, but I think that the Doom is not the right target for them. We're going to see Ember Spirit rotate down as well. Moonlight Shadow to follow. We'll see a Drum Charge get popped. Man, Ape is extremely low right now. They have 3 heroes very low, and we might even see Nyx go down here. Luna's going to get a Lucent Beam for just 1 shot. Overkill on the Lucent Beam by like 249, just because of how low Nyx was. And Ape's lucky to get out of here without that being worse. Even after Murd tanks that arrow, they certainly can't jump on him. I mean, that team fight went extremely well for Annie. Oh man, I think that Ape is possibly a little bit over-aggressive there into Plague Wards from Venomancer, and you really don't want to fight into that. I mean, I know they don't look too devastating and scary, but when Venomancer maxes Plague Wards as Greed has done, you really don't want to be fighting into that. They do a very decent DPS, and the slow is actually quite debilitating.
I think the problem was they just focused the wrong hero in that fight completely. They focused on the Doom, and like you said, he's so tanky now with the Vanguard and even the Plate Mail up as well. It's just, we're never going to be able to take him down, and I don't think they expected him to be that tanky either. But he's obviously done really, really well in that early off lane, and got those tanky items up, and it proved massive in the team fight. He was just staying alive throughout everything, and the Scorched Earth was on doing damage, and like you say, they were fighting into max Plague Wars as well. And I think they've just seen that Ward Beast drop there, and they're going to do Ward it straight away. So
we'll
see another engagement here. April wants to dive this tower. We'll see an arrow to fly. Vacuum on 2. Very nice job. Into the boat combination. It's a huge boat. 2 for 0 right now. But Lucen's popped the Lucent Beam, and she has finished the BKB, which is a huge item for her. But Ape's going to drop the The Sanity's Eclipse there. We're going to see Ilias still diving this tower. The tower goes down. Finally, Doom TP's in. We'll see Lucy trying to pursue on Ilias right now, but he will surge away. In another part of the jungle, we're going to see Doom trying to head everybody off. Arrow to fly. Doesn't connect. We'll see Ilias eat a Lucent Beam. Ape's going to keep pursuing this. He does have the force. We'll see an Astral Imprisonment on him. Impale only connects on Murd. That's not going to save Ilias. He will die here for sure. He's going to try and be cute and juke into the trees, but Annie is too good for that. They will be able to hunt him down. We might see Greed actually chase on TGC here. We see the TP in from Psychedelia. He'll drop the Impale, and TGC's going to go down. He eats the Gale. Arrow to fly, but it doesn't matter. He is already dead, so it's a 0 for 3. So another team fight goes very, very well for Annie. I think that was a little bit over-eager from A.P.E, but they desperately needed to kill that bottom tower on the Radiant side. As soon as you kill that Tier 1 tower...
There's a huge item coming out now from the OD as well.
Oh gosh, he's got the
Just finished the sheep stick.
My goodness, 22 minutes
22
in.
minutes.
His farm is huge right now. I mean, he's probably still leading the net worth. Yeah, him and Luna are competing right now for net worth, I imagine. As soon as Luna creeps this Ancient stack, oh gosh, he actually mismicroed the Centaur there, so the Centaur was trying to go mano-a-mano against 2 Ancient stacks. So he will go down, so she'll have to get another creep. But as soon as she creeps that stack, she will probably take the lead and never relinquish it, I imagine, unless there is some kind of rampagery from Sanity's Eclipse out from A.P.E. But I just really don't think that... that the team A.P.E is going to have much of an answer to that cheap stick. I mean, nobody's got BKB. Nobody's even close. So we're going to see a boat here mid. We're going to see that hit on 2. Greed's going to eat that as well after Psychedelia goes down. Ember Spirit's going to get that kill on Venomancer with Slider's Fist. Nice play there. So they're going to get 0 for 2 there and get in and out. And Ilias has picked up an invisibility run. I don't think they want to push this. They're going to be all relatively low on HP just from that Venomancer ultimate.
Thanks be to you.
Arrow to fly, though. If they can get an arrow, that would be good. And it doesn't connect, just short of that Luna.
We've seen in the last couple of fights, we've seen that combo, the vacuum into the boat, and it's worked really, really well. They've managed to get the kills, but they're getting pick-offs on the heroes that you don't really want to be getting pick-offs on the Line or the Venomancer, which they seem to find in all
We're going to see Moonlight Shadow actually on all 5. We'll see if they're paying attention. They will see that Ion Shell damage if they're paying attention in the lane, but I'm not sure if they are. We'll see Greed TP down, start laying down Plague Wards. Moonlight Shadow will not last forever, though, and they really have to try and get in and do something. They're just going to get out of here. The ward will actually not scout them out because that is their ward, of course.
No.
And they will see that.
Oh, that Observer ward. Look at the sentry. Look how close it is to being able to scout that Observer out. It's just on the edge. Just on the edge.
Just so. Just get there. Circle. Come on. You gotta do that. And right now, it looks like Annie thinks that A.P.E is wanting to Roche. I don't think they do. I don't think they could even kill Roshan right now. Murg will eat the arrow. We'll see if TGC wants to follow it up. I don't think he will. Doom has so many friends at his back. They're rolling so deep. It's like a rap song.
Yeah, these 3 cores of Annie are really starting to snowball out of control, actually. The Doom, like we said, he's so tanky, and now we've got the BKB, like you said, was finished on Luna really, really early, which proved massive in that team fight down on bottom lane a few moments ago. And obviously the sheep stick on OD as well. And they really did, like you say, there's no BKBs on the side of A.P.E at the moment. Literally nobody has a BKB.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's going to be ages before
they're just going to get melted
one,
in the fights.
So. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Radiant's
and Sleight of Fist does do
tower
physical
is under
damage, so
attack.
that won't matter a huge amount in regards to the BKB, but everything else from it, so it's going to be really hard for them to kill this Luna, especially with lifesteal. I mean, and it's hard to kill her with Eclipse in general, so I don't really know what they're going to do, and their Ember Spirit just has not kicked in quite yet.
Yeah, it's hard to know who to focus as well, because obviously you're coming into this team, into the team fights, and an Ape can probably only kill, and they might be able to get a kill on Psycho here on the line.
Yeah, but that's not a huge deal.
Ape's going to get caught out.
Yep, TGC is going to eat the Doom, and the Sanity's Eclipse. It almost one-shots him. And Ilias is going to eat a bunch of damage. He's going to get killed as well, so that's a 2 for 1, and the Lion just does not matter. I mean, he could die 100 times this game, and it wouldn't necessarily secure the win for Ape. I mean, they must slow down this Luna, and they must try and find some way to get this OD under control, but he is so far out of control right now. I mean, you saw how much damage the Sanity's Eclipse did there on that poor Nyx assassin. I mean, think of that on 5
he's snowballing
heroes.
like crazy at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and
he's
OD
absolutely
is one of
snowballing
the
out of
most.
control.
Yeah, he's one of the most dangerous snowballing heroes out of mid. I mean, as soon as he gets the Force Staff alone is dangerous enough, but when you add a Sheep Stick into that and throw that into the mix, it's just it's so much worse. And we're gonna see Ember Spirit going for that BKB, but all he has is an Ogre Club and 700 in the bank, so he is well away from that.
Out of my way!
I really don't know what Ape can do right now. They certainly must hit the panic button and try and do something. We'll see. Kid named Drifter has finished a Shadow Blade, and he will be going for a Chrysalis, I imagine. Technically, that could be a Battle Fury, but that would be a large mistake, I imagine. So we probably will see the Chrysalis
I
on
agree.
him. Yeah, I mean, the 35-minute Battle Fury. It could be worse. It could be a 36-minute Battle Fury. I've seen worse.
I mean, the Shadow Blade was late enough, so I definitely don't think we'll be seeing a Battle Fury come out from the Kunkka.
Yeah,
I think the Shadow Blade on the Kunkka, when it comes at a sort of time like it did in the early sort of 20-minute mark. Oh, we're actually going to find out the Assassin who is all alone.
The Moonlight Shadow comes out as well. He will eat a Lucent Beam, so that's not exactly how you want to use Moonlight Shadow, but obviously it's good to save your teammates. But I just think running the Nyx Assassin in the 5 spot on this team is really limiting his ganking potential. I mean, Nyx Assassin's one of those heroes that thrives on solo picks just because of his skill set, and he's really struggling to find them. And in fact, if you look at the kill death, he's probably not positive. Yeah, he's 2 and 4 right now. So he did contribute nicely in that trial, and he has 7 assists, so that's good for him, but he really wants to be getting solo kills on the heroes like, even the Luna. I mean, obviously right now she's too large for him to take off and himself, but you really want to be getting solo kills on the supports just to try and snowball it a little bit yourself, but I'm just not sure how that's going to go.
Yeah, it comes down again to how greedy Ape's lineup is. It's such a greedy lineup, and there's no way that he's going to be able to get those solo picks off because they need him to do so many other things. And we actually see the Vendetta come up, and it looks like the Luna was trying to take the stack, but has been spotted out, and they're just going to back towards the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, and OD is going to go for a BKB as well, and he's nearly gotten it, actually. We're going to see Lucy get engaged on actually, so this pickoff on Luna could be very large. She's going to draw the Eclipse, though, with her BKB, and oh, it's a disaster.
Oh,
2 for 0 for Ape. The bow comes out as well, the double kill for Kid named Joester with the Tidebringer hit, so that's
go down.
Yep, Luna did get killed by the Tidebringer shot, even though it was miles away, so we'll see Ape come back and get a Kid named Joester here, I imagine, along with Greed and Murd, and to contribute 3-on-1 for this one. So Kid named Joester will try and get out of here. He will buy. You see the items flying up in his stash. Panic buying for sure. And he will finish his Chrysalis. So there is that, and he did kill the Luna, but oh my goodness. That was a relatively good fight for Ape, and it's 2 for 4. We just saw how tanky the Luna was. I mean, she got absolutely caught out by the Nyx Assassin and was totally dead to rights, but dropped the BKB and dropped the Eclipse and really, really turned that one. And even though she was going to live, except for the Tidebringer hit.
There's so much damage coming out from the side of Annie. And all of their heroes are so tanky as well, and they need like those 4 people just to take down one hero. And obviously, with the damage coming out from the OD, from the Luna, even from the Doom, and then you put it into Plague Wards as well, and the burst damage even coming from Line. There's so much damage coming from the side of Annie at the moment, compared to how Ape can actually take these fights, and they just can't bring anyone down quick enough in order to move on to the next target, and that's why they're getting absolutely destroyed in these fights. And some massive items coming up on the side of Annie now as well, with the BKB up on the OD is going to make it even harder for Ape to try and take any of these fights. And the Assault Cuirass now finished on Doom as well.
Oh my goodness, so yeah, we will see a really traditional style Doom item build just with the phase AC. And AC is actually fantastically good with Luna. It's such a strong item to have when you have a Luna on your team. It just scales so nicely with her aura. And we will see her going for the butterfly. She has the Eagle Song, so that isn't too far off. We see 1 gem on... it was actually bought by Greed on the Venomancer, and he used it to D-ward. Now he's given it to the OD, so Annie really pressing their advantage. Getting the gem for Moonlight Shadow is a really, really smart decision. It's one of those things... I mean, Moonlight Shadow is... Oh, that was such a cute play there by Ape. So nice from OD. He saw the regen rune bottom that was being contested by the Darkseer, who was trying to save it for Kunkka probably, and he just force-staffed himself right down that cliff and snatched it. So nice play there. But as I was saying, Moonlight Shadow is one of those abilities that can really allow you to get back into games if you can get a solid initiation and into a team wipe and whatnot with the invisibility, but the gem will prevent that completely. So Annie covering all their bases, but we will see a 4-man smoke here from Ape. Let's see where the OD is. They might catch Psycho out again, but even if they get him, I'm not sure if that's going to be really big. They really should try for Murd here, and that's what they're pinging out to, and that's what they will try and do. They wish this was Luna, but Doom is good enough, so we'll see the smoke get popped, and Murd's going to realize how much trouble he is in. So there's the explosion spot into the torrent. All kinds of crazy animation things going on.
Look how tanky he is. So tanky.
Yeah, I mean, he tanks
so long
probably
to bring him down.
4 right clicks from 5 heroes, so 20 right clicks in total probably. And it's all burst, so that's not even maximizing the effectiveness of Scorched Earth. So The AC is just so strong.
Really good play actually coming out from the Luna, I feel, in terms of they get the pick off on the Doom, and the fact that she just came up to the top lane means that A.P.E have to go back and, oh my god, they're just going to get...
Yeah, the mixed assassin just gets squashed like a bug. Har. Arrow to fly, doesn't connect on anybody though. This BKB gets popped from the OD as well. That's so much damage. Helios is going to try and get out of here by juking into trees. He doesn't have surge, so he's just going to go down to right clicks. A.P.E is beyond godlike with a turtle kill right now, and that's what happens when OD gets out of control. So fantastic OD getting played by him. I think things are just completely out of control for A.P.E, and if you take a look at the golden XP, that's exactly what we see. Things are just snowballs.
Yeah, I mean they knew exactly that the problem was that like you say, if they use the Moonlight Shadow to a really good advantage and be able to get the wombo combo off that they're looking for, then they can definitely get back into the game. And you just saw that the Annie heroes were just split all over the map. The Doom was farming bottom on his own, we had the Luna up top, the OD was sitting mid, and the supports were roaming around in the jungle. They were just all absolutely spread out all over the map, which means that if you're running around as a 5-man, then you're only ever going to get 1 or 2 pickoffs max, and you're not going to get those core heroes. And it is exactly what happened. They managed to get murdered on the Doom, but instantly Annie all grouped up onto the top lane and started to push the tower, and they took the tower, and there was no TP response coming out from A.P.E. And that's really good map awareness as well coming from Annie, knowing that there's no way they can get back and defend it. And now they have control of the jungle as well. And we see those wards come out.
Yep, and they will creep all those camps, steal all that cash from A.P.E.'s pocket. And I'm trying to think of a way A.P.E. could have salvaged this game. I mean, it's really hard to predict when snowballing is going to happen in this fashion. We'll see an Impale on Greed as well as a Vendetta. So we'll see the mana burn. See if Kid Named Dresser can't get him with a right click here. Oh, he doesn't. Not in there just yet. He's going to drop the X mark, so we might get him with a Tidebringer hit if he gets a crit. Nope, not going to get him. Venomancer gets the kill on the Mixed Assassin. He's going to get cheaped here by the OD. Nice rotation by A.P.E., so nothing going to plan for A.P.E. right now, and we even see the Boots of Travel on the Outworld of Iron. Greed's going to get cut out a little bit by Yelius, but he will not die. We see that Darkseer Midas coming into effect. Although I don't think it's going to salvage the game right now.
I don't think it is either. I think you know that you're in trouble when you have 2 heroes, a Nyx and a Kunkka, that can't even kill a level 13 Venomancer. I think you're in serious trouble.
Yeah, you need to hit the panic button, try and invent a time machine to go back in time or something. So we'll see the Moonlight Shadow right now, but OD again does have that gem. But he is isolated right now, so it wouldn't even matter. We'll see a bit of engagement near the Roshan pit right now. We'll see X marks and into a Torrent boat combination, but Lucy's dropped her BKB and Eclipse, so much damage. Sanctity's Eclipse as well.
Oh my god.
From A.P.E., so it's just a bloodbath right now. 1 for 3 right now. The Doom will go down, but at what cost for A.P.E.? We'll see the Ghost Scepter on Affinity for STFU, but he's not going to get out of here alive, and that will give Roshan to Annie. I'm not sure if A.P.E. will want to continue in this game. I think they might just go ahead and GG out of here. Yep, there it is. There's the GG. So things were just snowballing out of control. I'm really happy that A.P.E. sort of had the balls to go for an Ember Spirit build right now in their team. I think that that would have been a really intelligent thing to do if you had a huge amount of experience doing it. But I think that it was a little bit, a little clear that they probably had, I'm sure they had a decent amount of experience with it, but it wasn't something that they were as comfortable as other strategies, just because of the way the game.
Yeah, I agree.
And they really let that Outworld of Hours snowball. I'm really surprised to see the Doom do so well in the off lane. I mean, if the